Hi everyone, in this webinar we'll be checking out the DrayTek VigorACS 3 Network Management System, which is an upgrade for ACS2. My name's Darren and I'm the Queensland Sales Rep at iLAN. If you have any questions during the video, please comment in the chat box on the right side of the screen and stick around at the end for a 5-minute Q&A session. Don't forget you can pause the video or skip back anytime if you'd like a longer look at anything or to hear it again. If you're watching this after the live premiere, please comment below or send an email to sales@draytek.com.au. Here's a basic overview of features in the new VigorACS 3. Those include some back-end and front-end improvements over ACS2, as well as some new features including an SD-WAN solution and client management with Hotspot. Let's take a closer look. So starting with the front end, straight away we can see an improvement in the login page. This can also be customized, perhaps adding some advertising banners at the top, such as those on the right here. This might come in handy to advertise your own business or add your own branding if you're going to allow clients access, but there could be all sorts of reasons you might want to add a bit of your own touch. Once logged in, we see the dashboard is now more efficient with an improved information display, but without losing the familiarity of ACS2. The left-hand menu is now pulled to the left to make more viewing space available. The network and device tree has been redesigned where only the selected network is expanded. ACS3 has the same type of web component style for the switch, AP or router user interface. Upgrading from ACS2 to ACS3 should be seamless. Those who were around for the migration from ACS-SI to ACS2 might remember that the move wasn't without a few hiccups for many people, requiring firmware upgrades for some older routers, which sometimes took a while to become available. This new version will have both ACS2 and ACS3 features built in together. This will cater to network admins who want to start hosting SD-WAN enabled routers, allowing them to exploit the SD-WAN capabilities of ACS3 while also still being able to manage other non-SD-WAN routers using the same ACS2 tools. The table here shows the different versions of applications running in the background of ACS3, and most of them remain unchanged. Regarding SD-WAN, here we have a basic definition. SD-WAN stands for Software Defined Wide Area Network. It's a virtual WAN architecture that allows organizations to take advantage of any combination of transport services to securely connect customers to their applications. Let's have a closer look at how DrayTek defines and implements it. So DrayTek's flavour of SD-WAN revolves around its existing hardware components, instead of off-the-shelf general-purpose hardware to provide features such as auto VPN, interface quality, VoIP optimization and monitoring, application visibility, and also application-based route policy, and all of these can be managed centrally using VigorACS 3. DrayTek now has its own range of edge routers which handle the different types of WANs, for example VDSL, Ethernet, LTE, USB and wireless WAN, and they utilise VigorACS 3 as the central monitoring package to perform configurations, provisioning and monitoring activities. ACS 3 has multi-tenancy built in, which means that each customer site shares the software application and a single database, but each tenant's data is isolated and remains invisible to other tenants. The first router series DrayTek released with SD-WAN capabilities were the Vigor 2865 series and the Vigor 2927 series. You'll find both of these products on our website and overview videos on our YouTube channel. Here we have two types of traffic flow. The branch office on the left has all traffic tunneled to the headquarters, whereas on the right-hand side the branch has direct internet access and may even have two or more WANs with failover or load balancing. The network hosting the new routers will need to enable SD-WAN on VigorACS 3, but you can have ACS2 and ACS3 networks residing side by side. Here in this example we have a network called SD-WAN_GW5 and we've clicked to enable SD-WAN using the green toggle switch in the center here. The part under the blue line here is where you specify the periodic inform time. That is the interval the CPE will communicate with ACS3. In this profile, we've set the periodic inform interval to every 120 seconds to get fresh info on WAN, VPN and VoIP, but for users and apps we've set it to every 300 seconds. That can be changed according to your needs. The second arrow down the bottom is pointing to an option to reset to factory default. Okay, let's take a look at a live interface of ACS3 to show some of the features discussed so far in a little more detail. First up, we have the login screen. We just need to enter a valid user ID and password and the validation code. Up in the right-hand corner here, you can switch on auto logout so no one can meddle with things if you tend to walk away from your PC and leave it unguarded. Over at the top left, we can choose the network we want to work with. We have one set up here called ILAN_group. If we select that, we've set it to show its location on a map. And if we select the pull-down list at the top, we can see we have several devices already registered. If we click on subnet 3 here, you might notice it's a little different to ACS2, with the registered CPEs appearing left to right across the screen instead of a drop-down menu. You can do searches on network names or model numbers. For example, select model and type G2500, and then any G2500 devices will appear. Then we can select it and it will appear on the dashboard. This dashboard is a multi-purpose screen which will change depending on what is selected. For example, if a network is selected, we can see a different layout to better suit that. Over on the right here in the device overview pane, we can also do searches for devices. For example, select device instead of network, then type a model number and all devices of this model will appear on screen. Next icon in the main menu on the left here will show the statistics menu. We can choose tabs here to see statistics for the last 7 days, for the last 24 hours, or even the last 30 days. In usage overview, we see the percentage of wired and wireless clients. In the wireless clients overview pane on the right, we see 3 little pie charts showing us the number of 2.4 and 5 GHz users, the percentage connected to each SSID, and also one displaying the operating systems being used by client devices. Next is the monitoring menu, which shows a number of options including the alarm status and a detailed log of events. Under devices, we get a detailed list of devices, for example routers or access points being used, along with their MAC and IP addresses. Under clients, we get a list of clients connected and timestamp. Down here, we also get statistics on LTE data, which unfortunately I haven't been able to collect. Moving on to the configuration menu options, if I select VPN and then go to Create VPN, we get a VPN wizard. VPN tunnels can be easily created. You just need to click on the Create button and follow some simple steps. The wizard will do the rest. We can also create AP profiles for access points, and then we have some load balance and group route policies which can be applied to SD-WAN devices as well as VoIP devices. Next is the Hotspot menu, where hotspots can be created and centrally managed. There's also quota management as well as some analytics data. The maintenance menu is where we can schedule backups. We also have options to schedule tasks for configuration restore, firmware upgrades, device reboots, and system password reset. There's also a useful file manager with a list of all saved firmware and backups. Next, the reports menu, and we have options of report tasks and reports, where you can create customized reports. For example, let's see a list of all devices with their current firmware versions. So we select firmware, firmware overview, and all devices. Then select the network. Don't forget that one or you'll just get a blank report. And here we see a list of all devices in the network with their names, model numbers, firmware versions, and WAN IP addresses. You can imagine how much time this will save if you have 100 or more routers that you need to regularly check to make sure the firmware versions are up to date. On to the provisioning menu options. If you're familiar with XML scripts, you can import and modify those here for deployment of global parameters or to specific network devices. You can also see the CPE set parameters as well as CPE keep parameters, which will restore any parameters which have been changed on the remote router without authorization. The keep parameters will be restored every now and then by the ACS server in order to maintain the integrity of the network. Network management, this is where SD-WAN devices are added to ACS3 and also where non-SD-WAN devices coexist in the same package. Note that each SD-WAN device added is an additional node used in your license quota. Handy tip, if you group your CPEs in a subnetwork, you can easily get stats from them that way. This may not happen if they're all in the root network. Here we've created an SD-WAN network. The SD-WAN switch has been turned on and all SD-WAN devices will be grouped into this network. For example, the 2865 and 2927 models, and eventually the Vigor 3910 and 2962. Also note that other subnetworks do not have SD-WAN enabled and hence may contain older models. This tree diagram looks a lot like the older ACS2 dashboard drop-down menu for all devices in the network. I'll show you quickly how to create a new subnetwork. Just click on Add Network and fill in the details. To get rid of it again, just drill down to it, select it, and then click on Delete this network. Done. Next menu option is the system log, where the logs can be browsed. Then we have the user management menu, where new users are created. I'll quickly create a new user and also show where two-factor authentication can be enabled for each user. So just click on Add and fill out the profile details. For two-factor authentication, just turn that on down here. Bear in mind, each user will need to download the Google Authenticator app and then sync it here. From then on, each time they log into the ACS3 server, a validation code will appear in the Google Authenticator app, which then needs to be entered after the password. Under Mail Server, you can set your mail server to receive notifications of events. For example, if a WAN fails or if a router goes offline, or if VPNs go offline and so on. Another option is to get text alerts, and you can set that up here under SMS server. There's also an SNMP server option. Finally, in About, you can check the current version of the ACS3 installation. Under License Information, you can see details of your node quota and expiry details. Just a reminder about the auto log off feature. If that's on, it can get annoying if you're working on something for a relatively long period of time, so you can turn that on or off up here. Here also you have another option to disable or enable the two-factor authentication. Okay. Coming back to VPN, in ACS2 we could drag two routers together to link them with a VPN tunnel. In ACS3 we can now automatically create hub and spoke and mesh VPNs. In hub and spoke VPNs, IPsec encryption will be chosen by default with AES-256. ACS3 also keeps an eye on things after that, so if the remote router changes WAN IP, the ACS3 server will automatically update the VPN profile to keep the VPN running. Just keep in mind that only VPNs created using ACS3 will be monitored for this capability to work. This screen shows how to set up a hub and spoke VPN. Just click on Add VPN Tunnel and a wizard is started. As mentioned, there's two types of VPNs available that you can choose from here, hub and spoke or full mesh. For hub and spoke, you'll need to select the hub router for the spoke configuration. Here you can see that once the hub has been chosen, then the rest are automatically added as spokes. You'll need to remove any unneeded spoke devices in the configuration and then click OK and the VPN will automatically be created. And here is our hub and spoke VPN created automatically for us after just a few minutes. The other type of VPN is full mesh. Creating them is just as simple with just a few clicks. Note that if there's a subnet conflict, ACS3 will pick it up and suggest an alternative. The next improvement is in the SD-WAN dashboard, which is different from the normal dashboard. Here you can see the quality and reliability of the WAN, VPN and VoIP status of the monitored devices. Average MOS is being calculated for each WAN. MOS, or MOS, stands for Mean Opinion Score. It provides a numerical measure of the quality of human speech at the destination end of the circuit. This rating uses subjective tests, that is, opinionated scores, that are mathematically arranged to obtain an indicator of the system performance in terms of human voice. Obviously, this new dashboard is really focused on VoIP performance. The WAN is separated into two, that is, wired and wireless, because wired is usually more reliable than wireless. Keep in mind that the VPN MOS at this stage is only for VPNs created by the SD-WAN VPN tool. A score of 5 means very good quality, and typically you'll want to be seeing something between 4 to 5 there. VigorACS 3 offers real-time WAN monitoring, including a notification by email of which devices went offline and back on again. WAN quality is measured in MOS as well, and VigorACS 3 has the ability to choose the best quality WAN for certain applications if needed. Here's a typical screen for the usage, interface status, and latency for the last 2 hours. Up the top left, we see that WAN 1 for this router has an IP address of 118.166.175.166. VigorACS 3 also offers VPN monitoring with the same MOS parameters. Different colors indicate the quality and conditions of each VPN connection. If the line is blue like this one, then everything is working normally, but if it's yellow, it means that the connection is unstable. Also, the uptime, download, and upload figures are displayed for each VPN tunnel in the tunnel status table below the map. Similarly, you can get a VPN overview in the same format as previously mentioned. ACS3 puts a lot of emphasis on VoIP monitoring and optimization. Every single call is continuously monitored from beginning to end. When the voice quality drops, there's a line failover. The dashboard also shows the VoIP MOS. Every VoIP call via NAT WAN is monitored, however routed WAN is not included at this stage. Here you can see 3 WANs with their respective mean opinion scores. Here ACS3 has selected WAN 1 to be the VoIP WAN because it has the best MOS score. So in the previous screen we saw a route policy that can only be created using ACS3, and it applies only in SD-WAN enabled networks. You'll find it here in the configuration menu. Here we have the VoIP overview, which is a great tool to analyze your VoIP network and see how calls have been handled over the last 30 days. Another feature is application visibility, which gives us a report on application usage per app and per user per WAN. Here you can see a list of apps in descending order of usage and the number of users per app, for example Google, YouTube, Skype, and so on. Clicking on an app brings up more detail, which looks like this. So here we can see usage per user. In this screen you can even apply a route policy to existing applications. In this one we've selected Netflix, Spotify and YouTube, and we want to send them via WAN 1, and this can be deployed using ACS3 to routers in an SD-WAN enabled network. Clicking on Advanced Mode down the bottom there brings up this option where you can even enable a failover WAN to apply to this application route policy. With application route policy, you have full control of NAT and routing. For example, by creating 2 policies to different destinations, VoIP traffic from a single IP phone can be routed via an MPLS WAN for an internal PBX or NATed via a second WAN to the internet. Centralized hotspot. VigorACS 3 now has a hotspot solution which offers a way to centralize all of your branch's hotspots. You'll get a better splash page editor at the front, and at the back end you'll still be able to analyze the database and see who logged in with their email addresses, what devices were used, and their login history. Here we have a table comparing individual hotspot server versus a centralized hotspot server offered by VigorACS 3. Hit pause if you'd like to check that out a little longer. VigorACS 3 also allows the setup of a hotspot profile and then deploy it to other branch routers. Here we have a list of hotspot XDSL routers. The Vigor 2765 and Vigor 2865 series are the new models which replace the Vigor 2762 and the Vigor 2862 series respectively. Please pause if you'd like a longer look. And here's a list of Ethernet WAN routers with hotspot capability. Again, please pause the video if you'd like a longer look. There's a variety of methods to log into a hotspot. Click-through is the fastest, but it also supports using a social media login like Facebook or Google. Or you can use a more serious method using a radius server, or just have users leave their info to get free internet. ACS3's hotspot feature is also multilingual. There's now 20 different languages that can be used. How much are guests allowed to use? So here we have some control over hotspot users, including setting a time limit, a device limit, or bandwidth and session limits. For many businesses, the idea behind having a wireless hotspot is to collect and analyze information given by clients before giving them access to the internet. Sometimes it can be free, but it can also be billed using a third-party application such as Purple Wi-Fi. Okay, that's about it for now, but please stay tuned. We'll be answering any questions in the live chat on the right of your screen for the next 5 minutes. For more information about DrayTek products, please check out our website at www.draytek.com.au or send us an email to sales@draytek.com.au or give us a call on 02 9838 8899. Please like and subscribe below, and if you'd like a notification whenever we put up a new video, please give the bell a click too. Thanks and bye for now.